Meg, do you want to just intro this, or do we just go for it?
Matthew, you've got their attention. I say
All
just
right.
Oh my gosh.
Let's roll. Let's do this thing. Welcome to everybody that's here, because this is going to be a great time, and we're going to show my space, but we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. Let me just share my screen again. I did say that I was going to do some exclusive content for the people that were here early or on time. But I realized that, I had a special slide for everybody. So if you're still not here on time, you're missing out on this exclusive AI generated slide. And it's this. I asked a tribute to Mr. Rogers. This is the slide that we got. It's a little weird. I'm not sure what's going on. But, it says his gentle spirit, a kind heart, set an example for all of us, leaving a lasting mark on generations of viewers, a tender soul whose words of wisdom, compassion, and understanding gave us courage to be our best selves. Not sure what Dolly happened. I don't know what happened there. But today, we don't need AI, because today we're going to be talking about how to save 40 hours a month creating content without AI. This is a crazy offer that I'm about to give you guys. Throughout this presentation, you're going to see some crazy photos that are generated by AI, and just for fun, because why not, while we talk about file management. But we're not going to use AI, but we will use Air. Air is the program, the software that we're here that's brought us all together for today. File management is the most unsexy part of content creation. File management is probably the most unsexy part of any sort of business organization. It's like the thing that nobody does or cares about. It's very passive. It's just, let's just put this in the folder. I'm going to get you stoked about file management today. Hopefully you can feel that in my passion today, right now. You're probably like, who is this guy? It's crazy. So tools and technology promise ease and saving time, but ironically, most systems get more complex with tech, and time is spent in the programs versus doing actual work, which is not the point, right? Software is supposed to automate things so we can actually be more productive or more efficient, or even better with the work that we're doing. But specifically with file management, it tends to be the thing that blocks us from doing our actual jobs. And I know that's true for me. Air is a dynamic product that has changed our file management system at Goodo Studios. So again, I love this AI generated. I don't know. This is they saw this prompt and they said, this is me. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But who the heck is this guy talking about file management and getting stoked about Air? I'm Matthew Gattozzi. I'm the founder of Goodo Studios. We create content for consumer brands. So we work with brands in a few different ways. We shoot the high-end photos and videos for the website. We also make really fun ads on Facebook and Instagram. And we also do really cool organic social media content for TikTok. So we do all the things when it comes to content. And our whole process, our whole business is us shooting content, but then also organizing it and editing it for people, for different brands. So file management is kind of important when it comes to what we do. So transition to Air. How did I find Air, and what was I using before? Like most of you guys, I was using Google Drive and Dropbox. Those are the two places that I was using. And before I found Air, I was just, these were the programs that I was using, because that's all that there was. There was nobody out there doing anything different. I was lucky enough to have a friend who worked at another agency in marketing, and he and I were working together, and he was like, oh, let me introduce you to Air. This is where we have all the assets. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And he's like, oh, you got to check this out. I'll tell you, the second I saw this, my life changed, and I went super deep into the product and understanding it. And for the last year or so, since using it, I've fallen in love with it and have completely changed how I operate my business because of it. And it's really helped not only myself, but also my team. So our creative process, this is really important. So before I jump in and actually show you Air, it's like, what do I do? Like, what does my business do? And how do we actually work with brands? I'm going to go through the creative process. And again, for your treat, this is another random image that was generated from our creative process. I think our creative process is a little bit more pretty than this image, but you know, Dolly says otherwise. So the first way, the way we start is understanding why a customer buys. So that's our creative strategy. Before we actually shoot any content, we want to figure out, why do customers buy? Then we actually create the briefs and the scripts. So we write everything out and we're going to say, okay, the actor's going to say this and that. We're going to shoot these angles, and we come up with what we're actually going to shoot. Then we book a location. We have a studio here in Seattle. We shoot the content with actors. Now we get into the file management stuff, because right, we're shooting with these big cameras. There's a lot going on. We upload the footage to Air for editing. So we upload the footage to Air. My editors who don't live in Seattle specifically, they're able just to grab it, download it, and start working on the projects. Once they have finished the videos, the ads, or whatever we're creating, we can upload it to Air, and we can do comments and revisions right there on the videos. And I'm going to show you all of this, but I just want you guys to kind of prime the understanding of what we actually do in our process. And then we send over the videos to the clients for any revisions. And then from there, the client can download and launch all the content in their various channels. And like half of our process is actually in Air, which is actually crazy when you think about it. And probably for so many of you guys, a lot of your time is actually spent organizing files, which is why it's, I think, funny and ironic that it's probably the most boring or the part that we don't like the most, but it in fact is one of the most important parts of actually doing really great operations in your organization. And so it's actually important to think about this for you and how you operate. So if you can do file management well, you can be like this guy and just have a ton of money. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times when people think about, at least in my work, and you guys might be doing different types of work, when you're thinking about operations, a lot of times people think we need to hire more. And instead of thinking about how can we hire more, what I would say is, how can we get better doing the things that we already do? Are there things that can make us more efficient? I would say that Google Drive and Dropbox actually hold you back from being efficient, and Air has allowed me to produce more content every single month without actually having to hire more people because of really strong file management. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So now that we've got you really excited, let's talk about the 3 core things that will actually save you 40 hours a month if you're doing a lot of content creation, if you're doing a lot of file management work. First is organizing the files. Organizing the files the old way. The old way is you file it on a computer and you've got folders. You've got main folder 1, subfolder, 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 subfolder. And as you're, going and trying to find files and whatnot, you're basically got to go through each of those subfolders and then back through those subfolders. And so it's very like linear in a way, if that makes sense. And then when it also comes to, like for us, we'll work with a brand, they're already established, they've been around for many years, and they're like, oh, we've got all this footage and we've got so many great images. And they send over this like Dropbox of just massive amounts of gigabytes of footage and photos. And they're like, yeah, we can use some of this stuff. And so then we have to go through hours going through folder, subfolder. Oh, what is this? Is this image even worth it? And then there's times when, somebody basically is like, it's like, January 20th, 2021 photo shoot. I don't know what's in there. I'm not sure what's in there. The people at the brand don't know what's in there. And so the labeling doesn't make any sense, as well as the folders. But with Air, we've got something special. We actually have a way to tag the files. So for example, if you are a makeup brand and you have foundation, you've got blush, and you've got a lipstick, you could actually tag every single image to say lipstick, foundation, blush. And so then when I come in, I don't need to know, oh, this was January 20th, 2021 photo shoot. I don't know what's in there. But if I'm like, hey, can I get some lipstick photos? I just type that into Air, and all the photos that are tagged lipstick or tagged foundation, I can get. So instead of me having to go through all these subfolders, looking through every single image again and again and again, everything is just tagged so easily. So what this looks like is that instead of having to go through subfolders, you transcend the folders. And that is the most beautiful thing ever, is that for so long, file management was so binary, and now Air has allowed us to actually do something that transcends what we're used to. And that can really be dynamic for your workflow. And you can say goodbye to whatever this is and say hello to finding your content. And again, this was generated. I don't know what this means. This is confusing, but so is the old way of doing file management. The second way I use Air is commenting and versions. And again, I will show you this after, but I want to walk through the three main ways that we use Air before we actually show you everything and get you really excited. So the old way is we've got all this content, we upload it to Google Drive, I send over an email to the client, hey client, really excited about the content we created for you. Let us know your thoughts. You can send us an email back with all the revisions that you need. Then they go and they've got 3 tabs open. They're going, video to video, and then, they're looking at the video. Okay. And then they pause the video and they go back to the email. They're like, on ad 1 at second number 20, can you change the word from this to that? And then they like go back, and then they're like, okay, now for ad number 5, we liked how you said this, but can you do this instead? And so you're taking so much time to go through edits and just writing out all the edits in a way. And what happens is most clients don't have that time. So what happens is that they end up saying, oh, this is okay. Like, can we change this and that? And you don't get really good content, or they don't, as an experience, they don't get a really great product back, because they are just like, they just feel like consumed by, oh, I've got to write out all these edits and revisions. So you don't want to give that to them. That's like a bad customer experience for them. But then also for you or for me, I don't give them the best content that we could produce, because it's not very collaborative at all. And this could be true in an internal team if you're doing a lot more internal work as well. And then the other part of it is that you've got all these different multiple copies of file. You have revision 1, revision 2, and it's like all complex, and it's just confusing. And this AI thing, whatever this is pretty much what it feels like the old way. The new way, though, is pretty awesome. Again, I'm not sure what happened with the AI here. Not as cool of a photo, but it is what it is. The new way is a lot cooler than this. It is, the way we use Air is that you can actually upload the videos to Air, and then on Air, you can literally comment, timestamp. You can even pick out on the screen, say, right here, we want to add a text that says this. So it's so dynamic for comments and revisions. And the best part is that when we make a revision for a client, we can actually stack that file on top of it. So then a client can literally toggle through version 1 to version 2 to version 3, see the history of comments, so they can see, did we execute on comments from version 1 to version 2? And if there were any comments on version 2, did we execute it for version 3? And that's really great because we're working with some bigger organizations. Sometimes there's legal involved, and so legal has to actually see everything. They need to be able to see the history. Now, if they were going back and forth, think about lawyers. They don't want to deal with this stuff. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And the best part is I didn't do anything special. Air created an incredible product for us to do that. The last amazing part is the Kanban and project management part of this tool. It's really amazing. So the old way of organizing production is like, okay, you have your Asana boards, you've got your Trello boards, and you're basically like, okay, we're gonna move this into production, and like you're doing so many, you're pushing basically like, okay, we need to edit videos, we're editing videos, or we're doing these things. But like the amount of editing that we're doing, like potentially we're doing 60 different videos for a client at one time. We don't do 60 different card items on Trello or Asana or any of that stuff. It's just like we're working on this, right? Like that's really where it's at. And so there's a lot of times where it can be really confusing on which ads need to be edited, which ones need to be reviewed, which ones are final. And you can't really do that except if you're doing all these subfolders. Again, you could maybe on Google Drive make a folder that says final or in review or needs review or whatever. But for Air, the new way, it's pretty amazing. You got this Kanban system, so you can literally drag the files back and forth into these different stages so that anybody on your team or a client that you're serving can actually see, oh, this ad number 1 and 5 are being edited as we speak. I need to review ads 7, 8, and 9 and decide if they can go to the final and they're good to ship, or if they need to go back into needs edit. And again, I'll show you all of that. But that is so dynamic that within your actual file management space, you can actually project manage your editing and your editing flow. I will tell you that these 3 things will save you hours every single week and literally will save you 40 hours a month, because it has done that for us in our business. So it's now time to hang out in Air, and I'm going to bring you through those 3 things and show you my space, because that's what you're here for. You guys are here to see a real life version of Air and what does it look like, and you know, can we actually see you know, what we're doing in here. So Meg, I just want to make sure, can you guys see this Air? Because I just switched over. I want to make sure that you guys can see this Air table. Do we see this?
We got you, Matthew.
All right, word. Okay, love it. So I'm going to show you a few different things. First, let's talk about tagging. Tagging is so dynamic, and I'm really, really excited about tagging. So let's take a look at Bespoke Post. This is one of our clients, and you know, we're shooting a lot of content for them. Okay, you can see a lot of different clips. Okay, production is not easy. You've got a lot of talking clips, you've got a lot of B-roll, and especially when you're on production, you're shooting a lot of different things, right? You're not shooting necessarily in order. You're shooting for efficiency. So you might say, okay, we need to do all this shots of this knife, and then we've got to do all the shots of the bag. And so you're doing a lot of different things. So as an editor, it can be really complex. But also what makes it really hard is for this one shoot, it's really awesome. But next month, let's say we need to do some more ads. It's like, you don't want to have to go back into this whole folder and be like, wait, where is that? Where's that video of the bag? Oh yeah, we need to get that. Where is that? That's complex. That's really hard to do. And especially if you're shooting a lot of content, which I would assume that a lot of people checking out Air are shooting a lot of different content, or they're organizing a lot of different files. You want to be able to tag it, and that's what's really cool. And so I'm going to show you that, like, you can search within your boards just like this, and then I can say bag, let's see, a weekender bag, and I already have this, and now I have filtered out this. I didn't tag, so transparently, I did not tag every single file in there, but I just did this for you guys so you can know. But look at how easy that was. That was crazy how fast that was. Think about how, like, that's just like, this blows my mind. So let's do that again, but let's do another one. Let's do bespoke post Flickr. Hold on. Let's find this. Flickr. Bespoke post Flickr. That's this thing here. Boom. That was crazy how fast that was. That's like actually insane. And so think about it as an editor or as somebody that's like trying to find files. You didn't have to go and say, oh, this was from the January 3rd, 2022 video shoot in Seattle for the Weekender bag, Flickr, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you can literally just tag it. It's so easy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how easy it is to tag these. So you just click in here and click here, boom, click add tag. I already have all of this stuff. So this is the Weekender bag. So I'm going to click this. And I also want to say that this is B-roll, right? So this is not anybody talking. This is just B-roll. Boom, done. That's it. And then I could do the same thing here. Just go back to tagging. So fast, so easy. It's crazy. And then like, let's do some of the Flickr ones. So let's go here. Boom, B-roll and Flickr. Oh, it's already tagged. Sick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to search. And let's say I want to make a video about bespoke posts. So not specifically about like one of those items, but just bespoke posts in general. And I'm like, you know what? I need some B-roll. I need some really great shots of their products. Let me just do B-roll. Boom. Now I've got B-roll of not only just specifically the product, but now I've got B-roll of all these different products. And then all I would have to do if I wanted to edit would be like, all right, sick. Now I'm just going to hit and then download everything, and then download that and then just start editing on Adobe Premiere, just like that. And like, that is crazy how amazing this product is and like how fast it was to search. You know how long it would have taken in the old way of going through subfolders, and then you have to remember which folders are good or not good. And that's what's really cool too. Is like, you could actually like even change like custom fields. There's custom fields, and you could say like, if this is usable or not. So you can really change like which ones are approved or not, right? So let's say you had some old packaging and you're like, oh, we can't use that footage anymore because the packaging is wrong. That's good to know. And you can actually set those parameters like on each of these files. And it's really easy to actually do the tagging and features and things like that. So that's pretty amazing. Now what I want to do is I want to go through, I'll show you another one of our clients. We are going to do some videos and review. So like what's really cool is, let's pull up one of these ads here that we've done. Cool. So what's really cool about this is, hopefully I can move this guy. All right, I can move this guy. Sick. Let me show you the versions and the commenting. Like down below here, this is version 3, and this is the correct version. This is the one that's like great. But isn't this so cool that we could actually go back to version 1 and see what the difference was? Like that is crazy. Without it having to be 3 separate files clogging up your folder or doing crazy subfolders or any of that stuff. But then what's awesome about that is we can see that there was a specific time-stamped comments. And so you can see all of these comments, which is really, really cool. So we can see that this is timestamped at 24, and she's like, can you update the voiceover, yada, yada, yada. And then what's cool is like we can go into version 2, and just by clicking this is now we're on version 2, and you can see how easy it is. We can just click through, boom, boom. I mean, I'm like legit, like as I'm talking about this, I get stoked. Like this is crazy. And like as a creative myself, there's nothing better than being able to like literally just see, okay, this is at second 33. Then I go into Adobe Premiere, check out where's second 33. Okay, let me go fix that correction or this or that. That's insane and so easy to do. And like you can like confirm that this comment is resolved. Again, you can look at the comments, you can organize the comments. So let's say we're on version 3, like everything's good, and we only want comments on version 3. We don't need that, right? So there's so many different cool filtering things that are there that can really help teams organize themselves and say what work needs to be done. So much productivity apps and all this stuff is like, it's like not necessary. Like it's so annoying to be like, okay, we're going to do all the comments, but then go into Asana and say, hey, Jim, can you make sure to do this edit? And then like your project manager is like, hey, did we do this edit? Like, is this done? Or like, are all the comments resolved? Like, do that all here. And that's like, what's so amazing is you could do, it's so dynamic. You could do everything here. Now, the last thing I'll say or show you is the Kanban. So you can filter these views, right? So the old way of doing everything is like the most boring views, right? Like, all right, let's get a gallery going. Cute. All right, we get the gallery, but then you're like, okay, what is this, right? And of course you get the table view. Nothing wrong with the table view, but the Kanban is fire. This is fire, right? Because like I know right now that this needs to be reviewed. This is done, but it needs to be reviewed by legal to get over and to be done. Luckily, this project is pretty much finished up, as you can see. But what was so cool was that we were able to like take some of these ads and be like, okay, whenever there was a new comment or something like that, we were able to drag it to needs edit. And then my editor would see that. They would look at the comments and be like, okay, cool. They see the timestamp. I don't need to tell them the edits. They see the edits. It's all right there. It's like, I don't need to do any of that work. And then they go and edit everything. And then once it's done, they upload it and they put it back to needs review for any more comments. And then the client could be like, yep, this is good to go. They just literally drag and drop in. So like, it's crazy. We'll just do that, right? Drag it and drop it. Then I'm like, nah, you know what? It's done. Drag, drop. It's great. And it's tagged in these different fields here. So there is so much here that's so dynamic. And I want to show you just last few things before we jump into some Q&A, because I know I've just talked so much. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Hopefully there's some questions. So get those ready, type it on those type boards. Let's hit these questions because I'm ready for you. And hopefully you're ready for me. But one of the cool things is we were working with some creators here, and we were like, we need to collect all of these people's content. So shout out to Raleigh here. He had some great content. So we created a board for him, and then we were like, share it, boom, and then you can collect content. So what this does is that when you're working with a bunch of people and you want to make sure that you're actually collecting your content, you can get this little link here, send it to the creator. Then the creator on your phone can just upload all the footage there and it's good to go. But on your end, it's organized, right? So you're not like, hey, can you send a Google Drive folder and then we'll download it and then upload it to our cloud? And it's like so confusing and like the worst thing ever. So collaboration is like incredible on here. And then from there, what's awesome is you can go and tag all of this content the way that you want to. So now you're building your content library the way you want to. You're in control. And that is just so powerful, especially as you're getting bigger in your organization or your brand, that you can actually have control of the files. And so instead of feeling overwhelmed by folders, you can actually be in control of this. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll stop sharing my screen, but the last thing I'll say about this before we jump on to Q&A, why this is so dynamic is because think about as you get ready, as your brand or your company grows, new people come in. And when they come in, they're like, what the heck is going on with these folders? Now you're spending so much time of your onboarding meetings being like, hey, can you like go through all these folders and like be like understand like what you need to do? Like, this is the good folders, these are the bad images. Like, it's like you're spending so much time just onboarding people about files and folders, and it's such a waste of time for them. It's not fun at all. But with Air, what you can do is cut all of that out, because all you need to do is teach them, hey, whenever you need a photo about the mascara, just type in the search bar mascara and you'll find hundreds of photos. And if you don't know if it's approved or not, check the metadata, because it will say this is approved or not approved. That's it. That is the training. That's like one easy SOP. That SOP is done in like one sentence. And that is incredible when your organization can actually come in for the first time and understand everything. And then also you can pass on your organization to the next people. And so instead of your file management being predicated on this one marketing manager knowing everything about these folders, everybody can know about it very easily, and it's not complex. And that makes it a lot easier for you to work with outside agencies, other marketing people as you grow your team. And stuff like that is just another reason why I love Air, and I'm a big proponent for Air. I don't even work for them, but like I am stoked out of my mind about how great this product is. Most content sucks. Or sorry, most software sucks and it's not exciting. But Air really does make it exciting. So I've just chatted for 30 minutes straight. I'm kind of done for a second. So I would love to get some questions going and ask me anything. I'm ready for the hot takes. I'm ready. So hit me with the questions. I haven't even looked at the chat, so I have no idea what's going on.
Matthew, you take a breath. That was absolutely incredible. We are so happy to have you here and show us that incredible presentation of your workspace and your workflows. I mean, truly, people are nominating you for president in the chat.
I'm ready. I'm not 35 yet, but when I get there, I'll run.
All right. Well, you're certainly giving me a run for my money. You're doing my job for me. You're making my life easier. You are my Air, Matthew.
I love it.
All right. So do we have any questions for Matthew from the chat? Go ahead and raise your hand and come off mute, and we can have a conversation about what Matthew's workspace has got going on, anything that he touched on here, or anything that you're curious about.
There is a question that was by Alyssa. So she, and I did talk about it, but is there customizable link sharing? There is. And something that's really, really cool that I really like about Air is that you can actually like edit the permissions. So for us, right, like if we are like working with the client and things are not fully approved, we actually you can like disallow or allow downloads, for example. That's really great for us because we want to make sure that like people aren't just like downloading stuff and then just posting right away. It's like, whoa, chill. Like, we need to get this right. So there are some really cool like permissions and customizations like with the link. And then yes, what's great about those links is that you can like always have that link and it will always go to that folder. So as long as you don't mess up that folder or like change it, like that link is chilling. And again, that's really great for like workflow stuff because I could always say, you know, all these creators can upload to this link. And then it's like, you can always just have that in like your SOP and you don't have to like go back and like, oh, what's this link? And like try to, you know, recreate it every single time.
You can even use the content collection form and the share link in conjunction by just copying and pasting that content collection form right into the description of the share link, so it's easily accessible whenever anyone needs to upload anything to that board. You don't even have to go and log into AIR. You don't even have to be a member of AIR to use our share links and content collection. It's a really fantastic tool that we're really excited that other people are excited about, because we've been excited about it for a very long time. Lauren, do you want to come off mute and ask Matt the questions about onboarding or documents?
Sure. Hey, Matt. Good to see you. You can't see me, but here I am. I am just loving what you're sharing. And I asked in the chat, but the question is about getting your clients started and how you kind of activate them. We hear from teams who have a client workflow sometimes that their clients are, kind of resistant to change, or they have their own systems. And you alluded to a little bit of this when you were talking about all the back and forth of downloading and then uploading and using their system and having to get into yours. Like, what are some good practices for activating your clients into AIR as well?
Great question. I think, this is definitely like maybe more of a philosophical answer, just because it's like you really just got to build that trust with that client to make sure, like, hey, like, if you want to get the most out of us, like working within our operations, like we do this day in and day out. We live and breathe creative process, not only just like creating it, but like how to create it. And so like we've dialed that in to a point where we feel really comfortable about that. But what I would say is that usually we kind of show off the product from the experience of commenting and revisions before we like say like, hey, you need to go and get AIR and tag all of that stuff. So transparently, it's still sometimes kind of difficult, but we'd love to suggest to clients like, hey, we think that AIR is a really great way. And a lot of our clients do end up coming onto AIR and using it and really enjoying it as well. So I think that's definitely something that we try to do. But at least ease of comments and revisions is great. We do like a Loom video to like walk through the space for them to kind of show them how to use it and how to, add comments and things like that, so that they are not like, what do we do? So that's our biggest things. But that's a great question. I see 52E Studio had raised your hand. So if you want to raise your hands, you can ask a question.
52E Studio, do you have a question? I think they've had their hand raised for a while, so that might be from earlier. But I do have a question in the chat from Edgar about needing to approve content in addition to managing visual content. So do you have any examples of how you manage maybe like text documents or other non-visual documents?
Yeah, so you can actually upload, because also Lauren asked that about documents and recordings. So you can actually upload stuff that are not just like photos and videos. You can upload docs and things like that. Granted, we are not usually in charge of like subtitles or things like that. But what I would say is that you probably can just have whatever, like if you have it like on a doc, like let's say just like a Word doc or whatever, and you're like, here, and you could put it up. I think you could still have comments, like the comment feature, but like on the doc. And same is true for any like voice recordings or something like that. So all media can have that, and then you can put it in that Kanban. So like if they are satisfied, they can put it to the done column or whatever. So great question though.
Alyssa, you've got your hand raised.
Hi, yes, I've had lots of questions today, as you probably have seen in the chat. But one other question I had, so once you've already made your content, got it all organized, all that fun stuff, is there a way to mark once it's been used or how many times it's been used if you're recycling content? Like say someone from my team is looking for an asset that is new and hasn't been used anywhere. Is there a way to easily have that visible when they're viewing assets?
Yes, I think you can. So let me just quickly, so in the metadata itself, let me go back and let me share my screen again. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. So this is what I think makes Air a little bit more dynamic because let's go here. So like you can have like these custom fields here. So status, like if it's been done or whatever. But you can also add custom fields as well, which is really cool. So you might be able to add a date. You can add like how often it's been used. So you could change these options so people could see like really granular, like how often this thing has been used. So you could basically tag it and say project 1, project 2. And so maybe for project 3, you're like, well, we've been using these clips for all the other projects. Maybe we should do something different. So that's what I would say. But Air people, please let me know if I'm directing that incorrectly. But that's how I would do it for a workaround in that way.
I'm going to jump in real quick because we're near time, Matthew.
Yeah.
And say, 1, that was phenomenal. 2, to every person on this call, just really quick, thank you for coming. And if you would like the hat that Matthew is wearing right now for a limited time only to celebrate our first ever show and tell, and you all for coming, shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat and I will send you the infamous and iconic Air hat. Thank you again, Matthew. This was phenomenal. Your energy is incredible. You are an icon and a king. And
Wow,
I don't know how I'll ever come back from this because it was too good. And thank all of you for showing up. And email me for a hat, ari@air.inc.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you all so much for joining, especially thanks to Matthew Gattozzi from Goodo Studios. We couldn't do it without customers like you. If you have an interest in seeing more live events like this, you can go to air.inc/live events and register for our upcoming series. We'll have a show and tell once a month, and we are offering a beginner series every 2 weeks called Liftoff Live. One is happening on January 18th, hosted by yours truly. So hope to see you there. And if you have any questions in the meantime, check out our help center, and customer support is available by a live person 7 days a week. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.